Do people switch to English the moment you start speaking German? Or do they repeat what you said just to double check they understood you correctly? If so, it might be time to take a closer look at your pronunciation. Pronunciation is absolutely key to becoming a confident speaker. I can't stress this enough. It's the foundation of our conversational skills, especially in the beginning. Unfortunately, many courses treat it like a side thing, which can really hold you back long term. And it's not just about sounding good. Clear pronunciation also improves your listening skills. The better you understand how German really sounds, the easier it is to follow native speakers. Plus, it helps you to blend in and stay in the conversation rather than having someone switch to English because they're struggling to understand you. So in this video, we'll look at some of the most common pronunciation mistakes German learners make, and I'll share a simple but effective exercise to help you train your ear and start speaking more clearly and confidently. If you're new to the channel, hello and herzlich willkommen. I'm Salome, a native German teacher and polyglot. I speak 5 languages myself and I'm currently learning my 6th, so I know a thing or two about language learning. And one thing I've always prioritized, both for myself and my students, is pronunciation. Why? Because aside from all the practical benefits, the positive feedback you get from native speakers when your pronunciation is on point is incredibly motivating. It gives you confidence and momentum, and that's exactly what helps you stay consistent over time. This is also what we focus on right at the start inside the German Fluency Academy, my online course and community that helps learners go from zero knowledge to confident and conversational German. If that sounds like the path you want to take, check out the free taster lesson linked below. It's the best place to get started. All right, let's jump into the most common pronunciation mistakes you really want to avoid so you can be understood clearly and sound more natural in your conversations. When it comes to pronunciation, there are really just 3 key elements you need to focus on. What are the lips doing? What is the tongue doing? And what are the vocal cords doing? Your vocal cords located right here in your throat can be turned on or off to create 2 different kinds of sounds. Either a voiced sound, so with vibration, or an unvoiced sound without vibration. This becomes really important when we dive into one of the first tricky areas of German pronunciation, the different S sounds. So in German, we distinguish between 2 types of S sounds. We have a voiced S sound, which is a soft buzzing sound. This sound uses your vocal cords, similar to the English Z in zoo. You'll hear it at the beginning of words or syllables, like for example, Sonne. Put your hand on your throat and say Sonne and feel the vibration. Sonne, Sonne, or Vase, Vase, or sieben, sieben. Now, on the contrary, we have the unvoiced S sound, which is a sharp sound. This version is produced without the vocal cords. It's like the S in the word snake. You'll find it in the German spelling double S, or this SZ, the funny looking B. I've made a whole separate video on the SZ, so if you're seeing it for the first time, definitely check that out. Let's take a look at a few examples and repeat after me. Groß, groß, Fluss, Fluss, Fuß, Fuß. All right, what's the difference between the double S and the SZ? While both are pronounced the same unvoiced S, they affect the vowel before them. A double S shortens the vowel and an SZ lengthens the vowel. Zum Beispiel Fuß, Fuß versus Fluss, Fluss, or Maße, Maße versus Masse, Masse. Schoß, Schoß versus Schloss, Schloss. So paying attention to vowel length not only helps you say the right word and spell it correctly, it also massively improves your listening skills. Native speakers often speak very fast and blend sounds together, but if you've trained your ear to notice the difference between long and short vowels, you'll be much better at picking up meaning even in fast or casual speech. It's one of those small details that make a huge difference in real-life conversations, especially when the context isn't super clear. Next up, let's take a look at the German Z sound. A letter that often trips up English speakers is the German Z. In English, the Z or Z is pronounced like a voiced S, right? A buzzing sound. Z, z. But in German, Z is completely different. It's pronounced like a ts sound, as in cats. Repeat it a few times. Ts, ts, ts. You will hear it, for example, in words like Zeit, Zeit, Zahl, Zahl, Zug, Zug. It's really important to get this right because pronouncing it with a soft S not only makes you sound off, but it can actually change the meaning in some words, like for example, Zeit versus Seid. So make sure you look out for that. Next, I want to dive into a super common mix-up for German learners, which is confusing IE and EI, especially when reading. It's not necessarily a pronunciation issue at first, but it becomes one if you read the word wrong and then say it wrong. This can really get in the way, especially when you're trying to use new vocabulary in conversation. Take these two pairs, for example. Beine versus Biene. Weise versus Wiese. They look similar but sound totally different. So how do you tell them apart? EI is pronounced like I and IE is pronounced like E. A simple trick to remember this is to pay attention to the second letter in the pair. It's always the second letter that's going to give you the clue. So if it's EI, it sounds like the English I. If it's IE, it sounds like the English E. So knowing this, how would you pronounce these words? Nein, nein. Vier, vier. Klein, klein. Bier, Bier. Did you get them right? If you need more help with this, I highly recommend checking out my free workshop for beginners where we dive even deeper into German pronunciation and how to decode fast-spoken German. You can find a link to register for free in the description box below. Another common mistake many English speakers make is pronouncing German words that also exist in English the English way, especially when those words look the same in both languages. Like for example, Pilot, Butter, or Information. This overlap can be both a blessing and a curse, right? On the one hand, it's amazing how many words you can instantly add to your German vocabulary without needing to study them just because they exist in both languages. In fact, I've created a whole list of the 50 most commonly used German words that also exist in English, which can really give your vocabulary a boost. But here is the catch. Even though the words look the same, they're often pronounced differently in German. And that's where many learners slip up. They default to the English pronunciation without realizing it. So my first tip is to get familiar with the German sound system, especially how each letter is pronounced. It's really worth learning the basics of the German phonetic alphabet because once you know how the sounds work, it becomes much easier to pronounce borrowed or familiar looking words correctly. I've also made a whole video about that, walking you through these sounds with example words to help you practice and train your ear. Of course, there are many other tricky sounds in German that I've already covered in videos like the German R sound and the Umlaute. I'll link all of these videos below so you can practice to your heart's content. Wie man im Deutschen so schön sagt, Übung macht den Meister. Next, I want to share an incredibly effective exercise that my students love and we do often in our live pronunciation workshops. This exercise not only helps with pronunciation, but also sharpens your listening skills, allowing you to really hear those subtle nuances. It's called minimal pair training. And minimal pair training basically involves practicing pairs of sounds that differ by just one sound, like bit and beat, or ship and sheep. This helps you fine-tune your ear for small pronunciation differences and ultimately improves your ability to understand real conversations. So let's take a look at a few examples. Which word do you hear? Wien, Wien, Wien. Zeit, Zeit, Zeit. So. 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 Käse. 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 How did it go? I often get asked how people can study German with me, and the German Fluency Academy is the only program I offer. It takes total beginners from A1 all the way to an intermediate B1 level, all in one place. And the best way to get started is by checking out my free workshop for beginners, which is linked below. By the end of the workshop, you'll know exactly how to join us. I've also included a link to our student success channel in the description box below, where you can find inspiring case studies from some of my students. I'll be back next week with another lesson for you guys. Das ist alles für heute. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss!